dog food. I've pulled some ingredient labels and we'll look through those and I will tell you what things to look for. Your top 4 ingredients make up the most of your dog food. So those first 4 to 5 are going to be the most important. There are always a lot of preservatives and things to keep their shelf life. Um, and that is the biggest thing that's wrong with dry dog food. So there are things you can do, and I will talk about that after we're done looking at labels. There are things you can add to it to make this dog food better for them. It's just like tricking our kids into eating things that are better for them by sneaking in some vegetables or uh, adding something in to make it more enticing for them. No different with our dogs. Um, First one we're going to look at, need my glasses, sorry guys, is it's just an over-the-counter pedigree adult dog food. And this is the ingredient list. Okay. I will make sure these pictures get added on, but what we're looking at here is ground whole grain corn, meat and bone meal, soybean meal, corn protein meal, animal fat. Those, we're going to just go with those because already it's telling you its first main ingredient is corn, and it repeats corn to later. In my opinion, and in the opinion of most people that do anything with dog nutrition, will tell you corn is not digested well. There are some diets that probably have to have corn, but your average regular adult dog is not benefiting much nutritionally from this food. Uh, Corn, in my opinion, is for livestock. I raised cattle for a number of years, and they can have the corn, the chickens, the horses, the livestock, the sheep. Give them the corn. The corn is not meant for dogs to be eating. Um, let's look at another one. We're going to look at Science Diet. Now, this has one good thing going for it right now. No corn, no wheat, no soy. It's chicken and brown rice for an adult dog from 1 to 6 years. Pretty basic. Okay, we're going to look at the first few here. Chicken, brown rice, brewer's yeast, brewer's rice, cracked perlated barley, chicken meal, whole grain oats, chicken fat, pea protein, flaxseed, dried beet pulp, chicken liver, and that's a flavorant. Okay, we're going to discuss a couple of these. Chicken, great. Brown rice, it's a good grain. Brewer's rice, another okay grain. Barley, it's okay. The chicken meal. Now we're going to discuss the difference between meal and byproduct. Meal means it is lots of chicken chopped up. Byproduct is what you want to stay away from. Byproduct is, if it's chicken, we're talking stuff that's thrown off to the side and ground up to make up for protein. So meal is not as bad as byproduct. Okay, and flaxseed, that's okay. There are better options for your omegas than flaxseed. Pea protein, they've done a lot of research with fertility with peas. I myself have not seen it in any of my females to be a problem, and it is further down the list. Beet pulp is a filler. So again, coming from livestock, we used to use beet pulp to bulk them up. It's just essentially a lot of fiber. And so for a dog that maybe needs more substance to their poops, beet pulp isn't terribly awful for them. So this is an okay food. It doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have any corn. And I will tell you that When corn is used as a sweetener, it's different taken into digestion than corn products. You need to look at that in a different manner. But yeah, that's not a terrible food. You also need to look at your calories for what you're feeding. If your dog's a couch potato, you don't need all those calories. If your dog is hunting, um, running with you, uh, you know, any kind of extra activity, or if you're running your dog on a treadmill in your home, or if it's a competitive dog, those dogs are probably going to need more calories. So be aware, almost every food will have a calorie intake compared to a cup of food that you need to take into consideration also. Okay, now let's go to ProPlan. ProPlan is very popular. We're going to grab a beef. This is beef and bison. ProPlan is great for dog sports. I will say that right off the top. Not my favorite dog food. This is the analysis for that food. Hoping you can kind of see these. You also have to weigh in the cost of the food per pound. That may make a difference on, your budget. So this ProPlan is beef, rice, poultry byproduct meal. There's byproduct, that's not just meal. Corn protein meal, whole grain corn, beef fat preservatives. We're just going to stop there. The corn is a problem for me, which I said before. And it's got corn and corn. Beef fat is fine. We all need some fat in our diets. The fat helps for the dog food to stay together, just like if you're making a meatloaf, you need a binder. This lists beef as its first ingredient, which is good. Rice is fine. Ancient grains. Always think ancient grains. No corn, no wheat, no soy. That's kind of a steadfast rule. So it's not my favorite, we'll put it that way. And it's a higher protein, it's 30%. It's not the highest protein, but the corn would take this out of it for me. Okay, another ProPlan. This is their chicken and rice adult formula. Golden Retriever on the bag. Now let's see what they have for us. Here is the ingredients list. Okay. We have chicken, rice, whole grain wheat, poultry byproduct, whole grain corn, soybean meal, beef fat. And then down two more, there is dried egg product. Essentially, that's in quite a few dog foods, and that's trying to up the protein level. Eggs are a good source of protein. But there's corn in here twice again. Corn protein meal and whole grain corn. The chicken is fine. Again, you have poultry byproducts. That's essentially bits and parts ground up and put in the formula. For me, not worth the money you're paying for that food. Okay, now we're going to go to Royal Canin. This is their adult Golden Retriever formula. They've gone to breed-specific foods just because of what your breed was raised to do. They're taken into what their calorie level, what some dogs need more than others, depending on what genetically they might need. But here is this one. And here is your ingredients. Okay, let's look at this one. Brown rice, chicken byproduct meal, oat grains, brewer's rice, wheat, corn gluten meal, chicken fat, natural flavors, dried beet pulp, wheat gluten, fish oils, tomato pumice. And as you go further down the line, there are some pretty normal fillers, but we'll just look at those first few. Brown rice is fine, but do you want rice to be your first ingredient? And your first protein is chicken byproduct meal. Again, if it was chicken meal, that's better than byproduct meal. Okay, and then you've got a grain, and you've got corn. Chicken fat. Chicken fat is also another one that is digested differently than chicken. So if your dog is allergic to chicken, chicken fat may not bother them. It may. You need to kind of try it and chart if you're noticing any differences, but it is digested differently than chicken protein. So for me, no, not one that I would go with, and especially when you get the cost factor in there. Here is another Royal Canin food. Now this one is for a large adult. This one is not specific to the German Shepherd that's on the packaging. Okay, here is the ingredient list for this one. I'm trying to get the glare off of that. Chicken byproduct meal, brewer's rice, wheat, brown rice, chicken fat, corn protein, natural flavors, dried beet pulp, fish oil, and some fillers. Further down the line, of course, most dog foods are going to have some folic acid, and ones that are going to include blueberries or something like that. It's usually further down the line. It's nice to have it added in, but like I said before, your first 4 to 5 ingredients are going to make up the biggest part of your dog food. So chicken byproduct meal. Byproduct. Okay. Brewer's rice. It's fine. Wheat. Not my favorite. Brown rice, fine. Chicken fat. We just discussed chicken fat. Corn protein. Well, here again, we've got a couple corn products in this dog food. Beet pulp. It's a filler. Fish oils right up in there. So that's going to give you your omegas. For me, by the price of this product, not my favorite. Okay, we are going to go to a dog food called Ultimates. Now, this is from the company I used to work for. Large breed adult chicken meal and rice. This comes in all different types of proteins, lamb, chicken, fish, you name it. And I know these recipes, if your dog gets bored easy, you can hop back and forth from different proteins as long as your proteins don't bother your dog, and not have major stomach issues, because the only thing that's going to be different in the recipe is the protein. So switching from bag to bag from the same recipe to a different protein, you can do that if they get bored. Okay. Chicken meal, brown rice, ground rice, chicken fat, rice bran, beet pulp, flaxseed, and then we get into just some preservatives. There is salt in there, and that is a preservative, but the chicken meal is a meal. It's not a byproduct. Brown rice is an okay rice. Ground rice, they're doing that for the fiber, but this is not a terrible food. There's no corn, no wheat, no soy. You've got further down the line some good B12 and things like that added in. These bags automatically will have your uh, calculated calories per cup, so it makes it easy to find. Not a bad dog food, not a bad price. And like I said, they have multiple different proteins to go to. Um, another, let me blow this up so you can see. Now, this is a beef recipe made by the same company, but it's called Wholesomes. Okay. And this is the ingredients. This is actually one I have fed. And again, it comes in different proteins. So if you'd rather feed lamb, fish, or chicken, it does come in that also. We are going to look at the ingredients: beef meal, rice, peas, pea protein, chicken fat, pea starch, dried beet pulp, flaxseed, salt. That's a preservative. And further down the line, you've got some minerals and things that they put in also, like the other foods do. But your first few are the most important. Again, this does have peas in it. Some people find that peas affect fertility. I myself have not had that problem, but you do need to either visit with your vet or your breeder to see if they have a problem with those ingredients. And most puppies that come from breeders, we will tell you what foods we find work for our dogs. Um, and this is an easy, balanced meal, and I have used it. I have used the bison recipe that's also in this same recipe family. It's a good bang for your buck, and for me, I feed it, so it's one that I do like. I will tell you that my dogs eat also raw. The equation for raw is 80-10-10. I'm not going to get real deep into that, but it's 80% your protein, 10% organ meat, 10% bone. And I feed a combination of both raw and dry kibble, and mostly because I find that I'm not 100% happy with either product. So by combining the two, I'm getting the best out of both worlds.